to our guest today is hoping to brighten our January with a little slice of the seaside with the return of her series, My Cornwall. It's Fern Britton. Oh, I'm getting homesick. Fern joins us now live from her home in Cornwall. Hello, Fern. Lovely to see you.
Hello, Fern. Lovely to see you all. Hello, girls. Hello, girls.
Well, we're delighted that the series is back. And of course, Fern and I first met in the West Country, so I know that your love of Cornwall goes way back, actually even before we met.
Yes. Well, we met at Westwood Television when we were both working together. Weird, isn't it? 1980 or something. And even then, I had to live in Cornwall because we were working in Devon, in Plymouth. But I was insistent that I lived in Cornwall. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I remember the good parties at that house in Cornwall.
We did have a fish and chip party or two, didn't we?
I always remember you saying, I just love in the morning, in my nightie, taking a cup of tea and just sitting on the step in the quiet. So that's how much you loved it. You had that commute to work because you wanted to live in Cornwall.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I still do that. You know, I just walked around the village this morning with the dog, took him out for a quick tiddle, and I realised that I had my dressing gown on and my hair was still wet.
Oh my God, you're that woman. So, Fern, you like being scruffy though, don't you? And you said that's a great thing about living in Cornwall. You don't have to dress up all the time. Is that right?
Absolutely, Carol. It's a place that people aren't particularly interested in artifice. You know, making yourself look the way. And I was watching you girls this morning. I've been watching the programme from the start. Very good show today, by the way, always. But I am envious that you've all got lovely hair and lovely makeup on and lovely clothes. And I'm thinking,
Fern, you know how we really look when we come in. We don't look like this, as you know, when we come in.
We didn't do it.
Oh, hello, my earring's just fallen off. Just shows it's live telly, doesn't it? My earring's fallen off. But what can we expect for the second series, Fern? Where are you taking us? What are you showing us about beautiful Cornwall?
Oh, it's wonderful things. This might not set you on fire, but when you see it, it's incredible. You know Cornish hedges, which are actually stone walls and they've got lots of plants climbing all over them. So when you hit them with the car in a narrow lane, you think it's going to be a hedge, but actually it's a stone wall. You know, well, those stone walls have been around for 3,000 years, and some of them are still intact and doing the job. And very clever people have been digging them out and checking them out. And from the pollen things, you can see it's been there for thousands of years, literally. I also, of course, bumped into a mermaid in Padstow.
As you do.
As you do.
It was great. I found her and she was on this great big shell phone chatting, and then she had a little interview. And we had to say the tide's coming in, and didn't want her, because she was obviously wearing a long skirt, but I didn't want her to, you know, sort of have any problems with her fishtail going into the water, so we said goodbye. And that was nice. There have been so many
Straight over our heads.
hermits in hermitages and things living here. Have you been, Ruth, you may have done this. You know the little town of Roach has got a great big rock sticking up in the middle of it?
Yes, I don't think I've ever been there or on it. Did you have to climb it?
I haven't. I have been here for a long time now and have only just really spotted it. It's enormous. And yes, they made me climb it. I did. There was a wind, there was a rain, it was freezing. I said, "What? You want me to climb the rusty ladder up to the top?" And they said, "Yes." And I said, "I'm 65." And they all went,
I don't care.
and I
Well
got to
done,
the
you.
top.
Yeah. Fern, I wanted...
And then there's this little chapel. Somebody's built this little chapel right at the top, falling down. But it was where a hermit lived. And the hermits seem to all be sons of saints. And where they settled, they also blessed a holy well. They were always by water. So there's tons of these beautiful holy wells, which I must say, when you go and have a look and stand there and listen to it and smell the greenery, and it's beautiful, very peaceful. You can feel something spiritual in the air. And I think that's another sort of underground thing that Cornwall has, that seeps out of the rocks and the rock pools and the fields. It comes up at you. One lady I interviewed, she called it, by her particular well, she said, "The veil is very thin here." very veiled between here and the other world. And there is something, you know, there's something about it.
Yes,
So there's lots of...
Well, that is tonight. My Cornwall with Fern Britton. That is at 8 o'clock tonight.
Channel 5.
Then it's a Fern Britton takeover on Channel 5 tonight, can I just say, because right after that, at 9 o'clock, is a new show. So this is called No Place Like Home. This is the first one with you. So tell us about No Place Like Home. What's the premise of this?
Yeah, it's a great show, and amazing that Channel 5 have put me back to back, which is amazing. So thank you for that, or else everyone go out to the pub. So No Place Like Home was a series that Jay Blades made about his life, which was very interesting. And now his production company have turned it into a series with one person per episode, and there are 6 episodes. This is the first one tonight, and it hooked me because they said, would you like to go back to the first house you ever lived in? Well, I think for most people, the first house they've ever lived in is the one that's deep within you and the one you dream about, the one you can remember. I don't know, how the path felt under your feet when you were little, the smell of the garden, the kitchen, all of those sorts of things. So that was what hooked me. So I went back to the house where I was only there from a baby till about 6, something like that. And the stories there that I didn't know of the people who'd lived there before us. The house was probably built around the turn of the last century. And there were stories about, there was a maid who lived there. I can't tell you the story, except the police were involved.
Oh, well, listen, I know it was quite an emotional time for you, and Channel 5 have very kindly given us a clip. So this is Fern returning to her very first childhood home. Oh, Fern.
Oh, Fern. That was very emotional to watch, and I guess for you to experience. I wanted to ask you a question, though. You talked about how hard you worked. You know, when you started your career, you started from ground roots up and you didn't take a shortcut. You sort of wrote lots of letters and you got stuck in there. Could you tell us a little bit about that? We've only got a few seconds, like 30 seconds left. So if you could...
I'll be very, very quick.
That would be amazing.
So you're asking about Nepo babies and all of that stuff.
Yes, exactly.
My father, of course, I didn't grow up with him. I didn't really get to know him till I was in my late teens and then better onwards as I became an adult. But when I first went to have my interview at drama school, I went not to be an actress. I went to be a stage manager. And my father had to sign the form. And at the interview, the man in charge on the board in front of me, he said, "Says here your father's Tony Britton." I said, "Yes." And he said, "Which Tony Britton?" And that was the lesson I learned. I thought, you're telling me that there's no point in me ever saying, "Oh, I'm Tony Britton's daughter," because I've got to make it on my own.
And you did.
And
you're still making it. You're still making it.
Yeah.
But always lovely to talk to you. So let's just remind people again, My Cornwall with Fern Britton, that's the second series, starts tonight on Channel 5 at 8. And immediately after that is the new series, which is called No Place Like Home. That's at 9 o'clock. Enjoy the takeover of Channel 5 tonight, Fern. Lovely to see you. Lots of love. See you soon.
Thank you.